With over $3 billion in sales volume as a team, Carolyn Young is the broker and team leader of the Carolyn Young Team. Carolyn's team services Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland, and I'm super curious to learn about Carolyn's journey and all that they've been building within the tech stack that helps support their business. So Carolyn, thank you for joining me for this conversation. And to get started, one of my very favorite questions to ask is, how did you get started in the real estate journey?
Well, thank you for having me, Elena. You've been amazing working with our team and we appreciate it. All your help. But that goes back a long ways because I've been an agent now for 34 years, so I can hardly remember. I started out, actually, I was a single mom with 3 kids and decided to get into real estate. And that was my journey, 34 years.
You decide to start a team?
Honestly, I kind of stayed solo for a long time. I got influenced by going to a Tom Ferry event 8 years ago. And that's when I decided to start really launching my team. And so we went from, I don't know, when I was there, I was doing about 40 transactions a year, which wasn't bad for a single agent. But then we very quickly, over the past 7.5 years, have gone from 40 to 623 transactions.
Wow.
Had a team of 30 last year.
So whenever you were solo, did you service those 3 areas or just one specific area?
That's, because I was solo for, like 25 years. So I started out in just Virginia and then I expanded to West Virginia about 10 years in. And then I ended up in Maryland a couple of years later. So, yeah.
And what is
all of those areas are in my market? I can get to any of them in 30 minutes.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I didn't know what the region looks like there. So what does the current structure of your team look like today?
So today, we ended last year with 30 and we are growing this year because we have a lot of ambitious goals for this year, next year. So right now I'm at 45 agents. I have 2 sales managers and I have altogether, about 8 admin, and that's with sales managers, transaction coordinators, listing coordinators, operations manager, marketing manager. And then we also have pod leaders that manage every 5 to 7 agents that just assist them. And those are all done through VAs.
Okay. The 8 admin that you have, are those VAs?
One of them is.
Okay. And whenever
my team is kind of all VAs because we don't meet in the office. We meet on Zoom every month.
Yeah.
So we're all virtual. So it doesn't really matter. Like if somebody's in Philippines, my sales manager's in Florida, everybody's everywhere.
So whenever you were scaling your team, did you learn from one particular person or framework, or were you kind of learning as you were growing?
Well, again, when I went to Tom Ferry, that's what kind of inspired me because I saw a lot of people, having big teams, doing a lot of business. And so I joined into coaching. And so through all the leaders in the company and my coach, we just scaled it little by little.
Would you be open to sharing I know it's probably changing every day, but as it stands today, how do you currently support your team? Where do you get business from? Do you provide leads to your agents? What type of technology do you help to support your team members? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we are a lead generating team. So yeah, we provide a lot of leads to the agents. We're big with Realtor.com. We have a lot of VIP territory, and we're also a Zillow Flex partner. And then we also have someone that manages our Google account, which is for a lot of organic leads. We do geo farming. We have a lot of different lead pillars so that we constantly have leads coming from different sources. We try to always keep at least like 9 of them going. So that way, if one of them doesn't work out, that you have other sources.
And you mentioned Google. Are you doing that in-house, or have you found a person or company to help you generate those?
Yeah, I use Agent Design House. So Kiera Flynn, she's amazing. She's been doing it for a couple of years. So she's awesome. She only takes 1 agent per territory, but she's really good.
Do you hold, because you're investing so much in technology and lead generation for your agents, do you have any accountability that you hold your agents to, or any specific standards you hold them to?
Lots. Yeah. So the pod leaders definitely make sure they have SOPs that they have to follow for every lead they get. So it's kind of like that person's job to assist them in it and to make sure that it's done. Because if you take leads and you're not following, of course, you're not going to get any leads until you're caught up on what you're doing. So, and we have a training academy. We use Trainual because that works out great for us. But the agents go in and watch all the training of how we operate and what we do so that when they come on, they have a good idea of how we run a listing appointment, a buyer appointment, showing, that kind of thing.
What about training for handling conversations, difficult conversations, objections?
Yeah, we're very big on objection handling. I think my team is one of the highest converting in the country because we have very high production per agent for the size team we are. And a lot of that just comes from the training. We're big in objections. I've done a lot of stuff for Tom on stage with objections, and I've done a lot of objections over the years, a million times. So, and every morning, it's me or my sales manager, we all meet at 9:30, and that's all we do is objection handling for a half hour. And then in the Trainual Academy they go through a lot of objections too. They have recorded videos in their objections. You only get so many. You get the same objections from everybody. You just got to pick which one fits that scenario.
Yeah. Does the sales manager manage all 45 agents in their skill set, or do the pod managers help the sales manager?
They work together. I have 2 sales managers, and my team is in 4 tiers. So I kind of have one sales manager for the bottom 2 tiers, one for the upper 2 tiers, and they mix a little bit too. But I would say for the most part, the pod leaders do a lot of because the sales managers used to do it, like go in and say, okay, how many leads do you have? This is your goal this year. You're on track. You're off track. You only made 20 calls last week. You're supposed to make 100. What can we do to get you on track? So their pod leaders do all that with them, make sure they're following the SOPs and everything. But now they just report everything to the sales manager so the sales manager can go over at a higher level, because it was okay when we had 10 agents, but now we have 45. You can't do that. So, but they work together basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you currently have 45 agents. You have plans to grow to how many more agents this year?
So this year we want to probably end up about 52, 53. We want to do 850 units, which would be an increase from 625 last year. So we're just trying to keep things together and keep it going. So far, we're on track for it. So
the 45 agents you have now, and then the additional agents you want to on board, do you actively recruit or do you naturally attract agents?
We get a lot of organic, but we are very picky about who we hire because we have a really good culture on my team. So we can go through sometimes 8 interviews and not find a match. So it's a problem. So recruiting for us is a little bit difficult, but the agents that we have on board is a really good group. So we just trying to find another good, 7 agents and we'll be set for the year.
Great. Beyond the lead generation, what other technologies do you use to support your business, such as your CRM? Do you have a website provider? Do you have IDX? Any other lead conversion, nurturing tools? What does that look like?
Got so much in places. So we do Follow Up Boss. We've been with Follow Up Boss now for a couple of years. That's when we implemented you because we could have never set it up without you, to be honest. But so we use Follow Up Boss. And then you helped us get text and Betty in there for the AI responses and all the texting, which is amazing. And then we have, we use Google Workspace a lot, for the calendar, for documents, like we shared the drive out. So everybody has, when a team member comes on, they get access to all the shared drives so they can have documents. So yeah, we use Google Workspace quite a bit. And then we also use Asana for basically our leadership accountability so that we meet every week for an hour on Wednesday. Every quarter, we spend a full day in there. We have all of our, 7-day, 15-day, 30-day, 60, 90 long-term goals. And then all the projects we're currently implementing that we go through each week to make sure they're getting done. And then we also have stoplight reports in there of like, how is our lead flow? Is the ROI, where it's supposed to be? Are they providing the leads they said? So we check in on that on a weekly basis. All the KPIs for the leadership for their performance is in there. They got to report it every week. So we use that. We did have Ylovo for a long time on the front end, but we switched to Sierra a couple months ago for the front end of Follow Up Boss. Because of it being a WordPress site, they can, advertise it much better to get organic leads. huge, huge tick up in that. So yeah, so we just got that launched maybe like 2 months ago. And then we're in the, we've had Sisu forever. And we're going, and I can't even think of the name because it's not Boomtown, went to something else. But my operations team does all this stuff. So I don't know. But anyway, we're getting ready to launch it, Bold Trail. And that I think is like way from what we've seen, way far superior than Sisu right now. So we're, like you said, you're always implementing and changing the software.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So how did you decide for your CRM that Follow Boss would be your choice?
I mean, honestly, because of us being a Flex partner, there's not a lot of choice.
Yeah.
You can't manage the Flex account without it. But I will say, in the 30 some years I've been in the business, I've had them all. I've had a lot of softwares. This is the only one that I truly love. Like, it is a really nice CRM. That's for sure. You can, the app on the phone and the way you can add notes and share and tag people and all the plans that you put in there for us. Like, it's amazing. It's a very advanced CRM, I think.
Yeah. Well, so how did you, because you have such a robust team of 8 supporting admin, 45 agents, how did you decide to seek outside help with setting up Follow Boss rather than seeking internal people to build it out?
Well, of course, because I'm pretty networked in the community and I know a lot of other Flex leaders, and I'm like, how are we ever going to set up all these plans? They were said, you got to call Elena Kee. So they said she's got them all pre-done, written, which you do. I mean, it would have taken us forever to implement that stuff. Yeah, we just gave it to you and boom, boom, boom. You asked a few questions and it was in place. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, how did you choose Texting Betty? How did that come about for your tech stack?
I think that too, when we were in Sierra, that I don't, and again, I'm not in operations because I have people who do things now, right? But I know that you were heavily involved in helping us set that up.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of it is on the setup, but I know that we get really good responses out of the text and Betty. So they love it. The team loves it. My sales manager loves it. So it's awesome. I guess that's really like an AI technology, right?
It is. Yeah. Once someone responds,
But it really engages a lot of people. That's for sure. And then of course we can jump in, take the conversation over, stop it, start it whenever we want. So yeah, that's a nice tool to have. That's for sure.
It is. Yes. So I wanted to share some stats with you. So we've been working since beginning of 2024. We're now in 2026. So 2 years. So we have a lot of data for you and your team. And so it's really interesting for someone like yourself to be able to track this over the course of such a long period of time. When we compared Q3, it usually takes at least a quarter to get implementation and adoption across a team. Right. So we compared Q3 compared to Q2 of the first year of implementation. The lead response rate across the board initially went up 25%, and the amount of deals your team closed went up 154%. And as a result, conversion rate went up 29%. We're comparing quarter to quarter here. So Q4 compared to Q3, response rate climbed up an additional 60%, and specifically to email, 55%. Then 2025, appointments set increased 63%, overall response rates 173%, email response rate 123%, and phone response rate 150%, which means it's not just the campaigns, right? Your agents were starting to really adopt the system.
Yeah. Great.
And they were able to, they were picking up the phone. It was logging the dialer conversations. Like, phone response rate means that they were using the dialer. The conversations were being logged of at least 2-minute conversations, which is harder than you think. Even when I look at our team and I see how many dials it takes to get a 2-minute conversation is insane. And then also being able to set up appointments is even harder. So being able to have that adoption is really critical. And that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you earlier that I forgot to ask is, whenever you're onboarding agents, what does that adoption look like with the CRM and getting them onboarded into Follow Up Boss?
Well, it's not too hard because the fact, we have Trainual as our learning academy. So they go through all kinds of videos on how all of it's implemented and how we use it. And then of course, once they come on, it usually takes 30 days to get them trained. And then once they come on, their pod leader is going to make sure they're following the system. So
Do
yeah,
they?
they would get more support with the pod leader too.
Yeah. So whenever an agent onboards, after they finish the training, do they automatically get access to the company provided leads, or do they have some sort of probation period first?
We start them right away. Long as, but we monitor things closely. Like I have a brand new guy that came on that is like 18 years old, Jason,
Wow.
and it's his first job. It was so funny. Actually, he just turned 19 when he came on the team. And he went through the academy. He was ready to go and he sold 6 homes his first month.
That's
So
awesome.
there's a lot of training available. And so we like that people can come on and hit the ground running if they want.
Yeah, I think it's so funny when there's a lot of fear around technology changing and artificial intelligence. And yesterday I was telling someone there's been this phrase and I keep meaning to find who said it first, but there's a phrase I keep hearing that says, the more that things change, the more that things remain the same. The meaning behind that is, from our point of view, yes, technology is changing, and yes, it's a good idea for us to keep learning and adapting. But at the end of the day, the consumer, the home buyer and home seller just wants to work with a human that is smart and can help guide them. No one wants to work with an AI bot or a digital assistant.
But that
Like me,
AI can help us be a lot smarter though.
yes, yes. Yeah, whenever I call a company, I can tell immediately when it's an AI, even when they try to pretend it's not. And I just say immediately, talk to a person. Sure, but in order to help you talk to a person, we've gotten past the press 1, 2, 3, 4, and now they're trying to do the AI voice, but I can tell immediately, I just want to talk to a person. Yes, we're changing, but at the end of the day, people just want to talk to a
Yeah,
human.
I don't think AI is ever going to replace a real estate agent. I don't think it's possible.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't use AI to replace what I do, but I can certainly use it to assist.
yes, agreed. Yes, and to your point, when you were mentioning texting Betty, this is case in point here. Your texting campaigns, you have a 90% engagement rate for your new Zillow leads. Now that's either they responded to the texting and had a conversation back and forth with the AI, or an agent reached the lead. And then for your new PPC leads, for new buyer leads, 87%. So not that far behind.
That's awesome.
That's pretty incredible that you have such a high response rate. That is super rare for a PPC lead source to be right on par with Zillow Flex. That is incredible. So
Yes.
whoever is running your ads, keep them.
Thank you.
That's really cool. And I wanted to share some stories here with real life leads that you've gotten. Someone responded just right away, give me a call, to one of the automated texts. And they decided to put their search on hold in February. They started browsing again in April, which initiated an automated text through Texting Betty. And then the agent got a hold of them, started actively showing. And I believe they're currently under contract.
Yeah.
And so it took a total of 37 emails, 101 text messages, 62 phone calls, and 106 logged minutes. So I like to point that out now so that people understand it's not just the campaign.
It's not 1 or 2 phone calls. Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of it's automated.
Yeah. So that was just one client story I wanted to share. There are a couple others in here too, but those are always fun. Okay. One final question for you before I let you go, Carolyn. I'd love to hear one strategy or tip that you're open to sharing to the audience that you've implemented in your business that's had some type of impact. It could be an impact on the way you manage your leads, your marketing, your business growth, or sales that you'd be open to sharing.
I think the biggest thing that we've impacted on our team is the training. And I talk with a lot of team leaders across the country about conversion. I met with a bunch of team leaders a couple of weeks ago. They're like, how do you have such high conversion? It's like the training. Because you can't send an agent on the road and not know how to handle objections and what to say. And they got to give a consistent message. Like they got to share what platform we have, why we run it, why it's good. And we all work in unity is for the same thing. Everybody gets a little bit of a different flavor of how they do it because we're all individuals, but it's all the same stuff, same objections over and over. If you learn, you should like be able to like off the top of your head know how to handle everything. So I think the training is just the most important thing. By putting the Learning University took us about 1.5 years to get set up because you have to do a lot of Loom videos to put in there. But doing all the videos and the agents, I'm so, like someone will email, can you upload another video on this? Can you? Because they like is they can watch it at their own time. They can work on the computer with it. They can practice. It's the training is the most important thing. You can't transfer skill set without training.
I have 2 follow-up questions for you, if that's all right, based on your answer. The first is, do you require agents to complete that training and do you track it?
Oh, yeah. Well, Trainual does. It lets you know they completed the course. And then we have tests beyond it. So it's okay, you completed the course. Now, what would you say for this or that? Or how would you handle this or that? To make sure it was retained.
My second question is, you say that training is important and you train them. Where do you get your training from? What's your source?
I mean, really, most of the ideas I've gotten from running the team has been working with the Tom Ferry Network because I think he has most of the biggest leaders in the country. I was there 2 weeks ago and there were like maybe 350 or 400 of us. And I was able in the beginning, after Tom opened up stage, I was on stage for about 45 minutes, kind of sharing how we're running everything. But me being able to share with them what I'm doing and everybody else gives so much back that it's, I've learned so much from so many different team leaders across the country. I also naturally am just very fast on my feet and I've always been really good at objections. So it's something that has just been a fun thing for me. I like it. And so I like training it. So I don't know, just keeping yourself in the right rooms with the right people.
I love it. Well, Carolyn, I appreciate your time and for sharing your story.